Hey everybody, it's Julie. Thanks for joining me for a Bible journaling process video. Today, this is a prayer page for Texas. We're in Isaiah 43, where God talks about, when you pass through the waters, I'll be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. That's my prayer for the people in Texas right now, that they will just not be overwhelmed and that they will remember that God is with them. So we're using some distress inks. Not to segue so quickly, but we're using some distress inks to make a background and these ephemera from Illustrated Faith. And we're going to be, I'll prep the page in just a moment, but I've cut out this little Texas image from the internet because I can't draw the state of Texas, and I am stamping with an acrylic, not acrylic, a wooden block set. And so I'm prepping the page. Now I've titled this video Working with the Mess-Ups because I mess up several times in this process. And the first one is here. I'm getting some streaks with my gesso because this card is actually a punch-out card. And that was my mistake in using that card. So I have to go back and fix it with the paintbrush and just brush it and smooth that out. And we use gesso to prep the page so that inks won't go through. It actually just provides kind of a seal on the page. And so that's going to provide a couple of safeguards for us with our mess-ups later in the page, but it also causes one. So I'll describe that in a moment. Okay, so I have an idea of making kind of a hurricane image, and I discovered this when I was making my solar eclipse video and trying to make a planet. When I twirled the acrylic block, oh, you saw a second mess up there. I dropped the block, so it got some ink on the page, so I just went with it and did it on the rest of the page, and it actually looked pretty good. It looked like the rain. So I was going for this hurricane look, and it didn't look like that here. And I think it's because of the gesso on the page. It's not going in. But this is the look I was going for in my other video, and I'm not getting that look here. I take the distress inks and stamp them onto the acrylic block and twirl it. And in my other process, it worked, but it's not working here. It's just sitting on top. And then I take another type of ink, just a regular water-based ink, and try that, and it just blotches it even more. So I go over it with a paintbrush and mix it in with a little bit of water, and now some watercolor, a little bit of blue, and swirl that. And so that's working a little bit better. I'm getting a little bit happier, and now I use a paper towel and just blotch it and blend it and rub it in, and so I'm getting more of the look I'm going for. It's not quite what I wanted, but oh well, I'll go with it. I'm going to use some white acrylic paint. It's watered down, and I'm going to swirl that in there a little bit, just go around in the circle, and maybe this will give me the look that I want. And again, it's about working with your mess-ups. And, you know, praise the Lord that God works with us when we mess up. And that's what grace is all about. So I'm thankful for that. And that's also part of the artistic process. You never know exactly what's going to happen, and you just kind of go with it. So now I'm cutting out this image from Texas, and I'm going to use this as a stencil. Well, not a stencil, as a template. And I'm going to outline it. I want Texas in the center of this storm that I've created on the page. So I'm outlining it here, and I've cut it out on cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker. So I would recommend you do that on cardstock if you're going to make ever just a little template to use. And now I'm using some alpha stickers, and I'm going to make the title Pray for Texas. So I pick out the words pray and for, and I put them on my Bible mat so that I can place it around and see where I want to do this. You can also use some of the clear packaging from your letters. Now I pull out my woodblock stamps. This is an old stamp set that I have and it's no longer available, but I will provide a link for a comparable set from Creative Retreats. It's one that is similar and it's acrylic. Now when I'm using my stamps, you saw me line those up. I like to stand up to do my stamping so that I can get a better perspective, a better view. But even so, when you're using these wooden blocks, you just don't know exactly how the stamps are going to work and look. And that's the great thing about the clear acrylic stamps, because now I have my T is just a little bit off, but I'm not too worried about that. But that's the link that I'm going to provide is a clear acrylic stamp set, so that should be better for you. So I put my alpha stickers on here in a a horizontal fashion. And then I realized I'd rather stack them. So I'm going to move 4 over and center it and then put pray above that. I would think the stacked look is better just doing it horizontally. This is what I want this page to be a prayer to remind me of all the outpouring of spirit that I'm seeing in the people that are in Texas, but also in the country and around the world. That people are just coming together and praying for Texas and donating for Texas. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I made some watercolor paints just by stamping the distress inks onto the block, and then I pick up the ink with my aqua brush, and I've linked that. So that's a great way to paint with just those inks. And another mess up, I decided that I did not like the 4. It was too heavy on top, so I decided to handwrite the word 4. And that gives a balance to it. That way you can, having a variety of the print styles is nice and pleasing to the eyes. Okay, so I put a heart in the middle of Texas because I want that to be kind of the image that I'm going for, the object lesson that Texas is full of heart and Texas is surrounded, even though it's in the middle of the storm, it's full of heart. I adjust the word pray because it was off-centered. And here's where the beauty of the gesso, that I've gessoed the page, I can pick up these letters several times. Now I haven't placed them down really hard until I'm sure that I know where I want them. And so now I am sure. So I've pushed them over and centered it more, and then I press them down and actually use the wooden blocks of the stamps and press them down. I'm going to do my journaling here in a moment, but I'm just getting out my little ephemera. And the word fetty, the words that I use, I pick are encouragement, mercy, hope, restored, and then also there's the phrase prayer requested, but I cut and just use prayer because I want to just surround the state of Texas with these things, with prayers of encouragement and hope and restoration and mercy. So that was the idea behind surrounding Texas, the image of Texas, with these words. So I do a little bit of journaling in the form of a prayer, and it's just kind of reiterating what the verse says about not letting the people be discouraged and not letting them be overwhelmed. Help them to know that you are with them and that you love them and that you've called them by name. I do have a link in the comment section for American Red Cross. So if you would like to donate to the Texas cause for recovery through the American Red Cross, you could donate through this link. It doesn't come to me at all. It goes straight to the Red Cross. So you'll see that in the link. I'm pulling out some washi tapes, and the first one I get is one that says faith, hope, and joy. And I'm just sticking these tabs down. So this is faith, hope, prayer, and I'm leaving off the word joy. It is on the washi tape, but I didn't figure that fit this theme too much, even though we can have joy in all circumstances. It just didn't quite fit this page. So I left that off, but I stuck that up in the top left corner, and now I pull out probably my go-to washi tape, my favorite washi tape. It is the Illustrated Faith by Grace washi tape, and it says, by grace, grace carried me here, and by grace I will carry on. Something to that effect. That's the message. So it's all about grace that is carrying the people of Texas through. So you saw me with the last blunder. Again, I had to pull up that washi tape to put the designer clip down. And now I'm making a paper clip out of some fabric and a paper clip and just looping that through. I hope you have enjoyed this process, and I ask that you continue to pray for the people of Texas and donate if you can through Red Cross or some other means. Thank you so much for joining me today. Come and see me again in another video. Like the video, comment, share it with someone, subscribe if you haven't yet. And I look forward to joining you for another Bible journaling page. Come back again. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.